What's going on, good people? This your boy, your warrior Prince, and I'm just sitting here thinking about some things, and I thought I'd do a quick rant or a ramble. I don't know which one it is, but let me just do a quick. Nah, I don't think this is gonna be a rant. I think this is gonna be a video. But I'm a rant on this video, so you just bear with me. So I was thinking about. I know a lot of men that have went through divorces recently. I mean, a lot of men, there's a commonality in the divorces that I've seen take place. The woman is usually the one that wants a divorce, and the woman is the one within the marriage that was usually uncooperative. So let me put y'all up on game of what's going through, because a lot of these brothers have been contacting me and asking me, they needing to talk, and they've been asking me, what I do wrong, and you know, how did I end up in a divorce? So first off, let me tell you brother something. It ain't your fault. It's not your fault, man. In a relationship and in a marriage, it takes two people knowing who they are and knowing their roles within the relationship. It takes two. It takes two to be willing to submit into one another by loving each other and being the one that is tasked with providing the other's needs and desires. You have to have balance, man. It has to be both of you guys in that situation together. It has to. And you guys don't understand that women, the way that you can tell if a woman loves you is because of her loyalty. Her loyalty and love are one and the same. If she's not loyal to you, then she doesn't love you. And that can come in a variety of ways. It doesn't have to be infidelity. It can be the fact that she places other people in her life with more value and have a higher priority to make sure that they're taken care of than she's making sure that you're taken care of. And you can't understand that it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with her upbringing, what she's seen in her upbringing, her validated experiences in her upbringing. And when she got to you, bruh, she was already broken. Let me break that thing down a little bit further. So, in our community, there's an epidemic of single mothers. And it's been going on for quite some time, at least for the past 50 to 60 years. It's just gotten progressively worse. These women are taught, it's pressed upon them. They're indoctrinated with lies about who men are and not to trust a man, not to rely on a man. And most of them are told to get what you can out of a man. They're effectively taught to use you. Just because she married you don't mean her mind has changed. We, as Black men in our community, are taught what? Because most of us are raised by single mothers. We're taught to protect, provide, and all of those other things, the traditional role that a man plays, we're taught to be that way for our women. But they, the women, have been effectively relieved of their duty. Because make no mistake about it, marriage is about duty. It's not all about love. Love is a component, just like duty is a major component. But we are so far away from the plan of God that we forget that a lot of times. Just as a man providing and protecting and loving and securing his family, that's his duty. Women in the marriage have a duty too. But they've been taught in this society that they don't have to perform their duty. That's why you can be married to these women and they will put their duties, the traditional duties of a wife, they will place them upon you and then judge you based off your ability to perform her duties and your duties. It don't matter what you do. That is a mindset. And this is why on this channel, I tell you to avoid that mindset. It's called a being overtaken by a Jezebel spirit. And this country is under the veil of Jezebel. The men are weak and effeminate because that's how they've been taught and been raised and socialized to be weak and effeminate. And the women are more masculine and dominant. They have equated strength with difficulty, and they're not the same. A lot of you guys have married women, and she refuses to yield to you because she's been taught not to trust you. Most of the things that you're dealing with, that you have dealt with in your marriage, and why you ended up in divorce, and why she would never make herself vulnerable to you, because she equates being vulnerable to weakness. The reason why she pick arguments because she does something wrong, and you simply try to ask her to not do those things again because they're offensive to you, is because her admitting that would be admitting that she's accountable for her actions. And she's been told and taught that she's not accountable for those actions. You are. I actually had a woman come onto my Facebook page a while back, and we were discussing about some of the dysfunction that goes on in our relationships here in the African American community. And I had this woman come onto my Facebook page, and she told me the reason why women get out of pocket and act the way they act is because the men don't know how to love their wives into submission. This woman wasn't a young girl. She was an older woman who thought that way. And here's the news flash to y'all men out there. You can't teach a woman to be a wife. Men do not raise wives. We take wives. This young lady should have already been raised to be a wife by her mother and her grandmother and her aunts. It was supposed to be a collaboration of all of them to teach her the proper etiquette of being a wife and conducting herself as a wife and being the things that her husband needs from her. But she's been taught the exact opposite. And the expectation is you as a man is supposed to fix her brokenness. And newsflash, you can't fix a broken person, especially a person that has been told that she's doing nothing wrong and believes that she's doing nothing wrong. And the United States and the Western governments, because Britain has the same issue. Most of the Western European nations have the same issue. It may not be as prevalent, but they have the same issue. The policies that have been passed by these governments enables that behavior. There is no incentive for the women to change. None. If she doesn't act right within the marriage, you guys have children children with one another, she can leave and put you on child support or extract alimony out of you, despite who was at fault in the marriage failing. Because in the 80s, the United States government passed a law called no-fault divorce. So men, you guys have to understand something. The reason why your marriage failed, because it was doomed to fail from the beginning. Because you have two different people that's being taught. I mean, you have two different species, the male and the female, that's being taught things that are counterproductive to each other. If one species is being taught, don't trust the other, and the other one is being taught to protect and provide for the other, When you get into that relationship, you're gonna get exactly that. You're gonna get one that's trying to protect and provide and love, and the other one that's not gonna trust, not gonna surrender, not gonna be vulnerable, and submission is completely out the question. Most of our marriages in this community are doomed from the inception of the marriage because men have not been taught proper way to search and find a woman. It's one of the reasons for this channel. That's why it's called the Reconstruction Project. But they've also been taught that they have to surrender their God-given authority. They've been taught that you have no right to hold a woman accountable. And then women have been taught you have no right to be held accountable. Men have no right to hold you accountable. The women have been taught that if you get remotely out of pocket, sick the authorities on you. I was watching The Color Purple the other day, and Oprah Winfrey's character, which is Sophia, said, "A girl child ain't safe in a house full of men." Just that statement alone just tells you the thinking of modern day women. A woman is supposed to feel safe and secure. The more men that's around her in her family, that means the more protection that she's supposed to have. But they've been taught the exact opposite. So I know a lot of you guys, and I'm bringing this video to a close because I know a lot of you men are out there and you're wondering, what did you do wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? I loved her. I took care of her. I provided everything I could for her. I did everything possible to take care of my wife, and she still left. Or we still ended up in divorce. What did I do wrong? The answer is mostly nothing, but your selection was wrong because you were taught to select a woman in that way. That's it. That's the only thing that you did wrong. You don't know how to walk in your masculinity. Walking in your masculinity means setting order. Setting order. That means everything that you are responsible for and accountable for, and anyone that you're responsible and accountable for comes up under your authority. With your protection comes your authority. And most of us haven't been taught that. Most of us have been taught to protect and provide and love despite. No. It's a fair exchange. With your protection, your provisions, your security, and your resources comes your authority. And that's really the only thing that you guys did wrong. Ignorantly, you selected a woman that wasn't a wife because she was never raised to be one. With that being said, I'm going to bring this video to a close. I'm probably going to do a second part to this video. But you guys take care and have a blessed day. Shalom.